Alrighty, I just want to welcome everybody back. We are back after Easter. I hope everybody had a fantastic Easter. I know I did. I enjoyed my time. Went to church, had family down from Kansas City. I never can keep track of where they're at. They actually move quite a bit. Both of the daughter-in-laws tend to move a lot because of their husbands' jobs take them a little bit of all over the place in that area. And so I never can keep track of what state they're in. So we had one of the daughter-in-laws down for the weekend, and that was so nice getting a chance to visit with the older grandchildren. And how about y'all? Everybody have a really good Easter, I hope. Okay, just pop it in there if you want to make a comment. Tell us about your Easter. I'll try not to take up too much time. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling a little willy nilly today. I don't know what's up. Anyways, so today we're doing week five of Sundials and Cobblestones. Now I don't want to say I saved the hardest part for last, but I did save the most interesting part for last. We are doing half rectangle triangles, HRTs, recovering from my trip to. Oh, congratulations! That's right. You were heading way out of town. You were like heading out of country, out of town. Wow, that's great. You have to tell me all about it next time I see you. I want to hear all about it. And then tell me if you got any good fabrics from over there. I gotta see your fabric stash if you're able to find some fabrics. Um, so we're doing some half rectangle I actually had to look that up, guys, because I kept calling half square rectangles, and they're not half square rectangles. They're half rectangle triangles. Ugh, try to say that 5 times fast. Okay, so I have 4 different ways that we're going to do it. We're going to do 2 of them are 2 at a time, and 1 of them are 1 at a time. So it just depends on which way you like to do it as to how many strips you need. If you do 2 at a time, you only need 4 strips, and then subcuts after that. If you're doing it in 1 at a time, oh my gosh, you had to ship it back from Africa. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine what that cost, but I bet you it was well worth it. I know when I went to Morocco and purchased pattern, which was interesting, trying to find a way to translate cotton fabric so that somebody could point me in the direction of a fabric store. And I did eventually find a fabric store, and it really wasn't a lot of cottons. It was what they used mostly to make their clothes. But I bought a whole bunch of it, and I still intend on using it to make a quilt, but I haven't quite gotten that far yet. It's all still packaged up and waiting for me to decide what I want to do with it. Because I want it to be, like a Moroccan motif, kind of like I did with my turtles back here. Let me show you my turtles. So my turtle fabric, I believe this fabric came from, it's either Australia, I'm not sorry, not Australia, New Zealand or Hawaii. Honestly, I think this fabric came from New Zealand because it seemed like the Hawaiian fabric actually had a blue awapui shell, but I could be wrong. It's been so long since I bought this fabric. But anyways, it took me years to finally decide on a pattern for this fabric. And so the other one, New Zealand, I also have not decided what I want to do with it yet. And then I still have the stuff from Morocco. Again, I'm looking and waiting for the perfect pattern to pop up to be able to do what I want to do with it. All right, let's turn that off because I feel like I look like crap today. Okay, there we go. All right. I know, isn't that adorable? I absolutely love, love, love that turtle. It actually came from, I have the pattern around here somewhere. It was a really old pattern. It was back from I want to say 2013. It might even be older than that. And I did actually find the pattern maker online, looked in their store, and it's like the very last pattern underneath the animals section on her website. So if you want, I can always post it on there. But the pattern itself, the turtles are actually quite small. I enlarged them to make it bigger because she actually has it as a table runner, and I wanted it as something larger. So I enlarged the turtles and made adjustments so that it would be bigger. Otherwise, they're actually about half that size, if not smaller. Okay, well, let's get going because I don't know about y'all, but I'm already tired. I think I'm ready for bed. And I still have a video to do after this. Cut down a video. All right. So the first thing I wanted to start with is I wanted to start with the paper piecing. Okay, and that's this one right here. I've got my little paper piecing right here. Oh, okay. So Laura mentioned something about the paper piecing. When I shipped out the paper piecing, yes, I was going to put it on. I was going to split it up and put 2 on a page because, yes, when I put them on there, they didn't make it. And then when I had to copy it again, it still didn't quite make it. So here's the thing. Here's what you're aiming for. This from here to here should be 1/4 of an inch, okay? This is what you want to make sure. You want to make sure that you're going just outside of this line. So just make sure you have plenty extra. This is what's important because this is your stitching line. This is where you're going to be stitching. Okay, cut off the parts you need, print out as many as you need. Just make sure that you're hitting that 2-inch reference block that I put on there. You want to make sure that no matter what, that is as close to 2 inches as you can possibly get it. Okay, because then that's going to mean that this is going to be correct for you to put it in there. Okay, everybody following me on that? Ooh, you know what? Let me run over here real quick. I want to grab my sheet. I need to grab my sheet. Okay. So here's the sheet I sent you. And as you can see, this one's way over here and this one's way up here. When I copied it, I did notice that it actually cut some of it off. So just make sure that your fabric extends beyond these lines. But as long as these lines are here, these are what you need to be able to, that's your sew line. That's your actual sew line when you're sewing to the next block or the next part of the block. But if you need to, then just use these 2 pieces right here. Just remember that you need to make sure you have at least 1/4 of an inch from here to here. Okay? All right. Hopefully that helps. So let's get this started. So here's the paper piecing. And this is the size that we recommended. When I say we, you know, my pattern writer, the person that helped me write the pattern, what size should they be? You know, that's a good question. The finished block, that finished part of the half square rectangle is supposed to be 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. Let's see how I can embarrass myself. Okay, so with your edges, I don't know if you can see, but with your edges, you need to finish this out. Unfinished, it is 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. Okay? And that's unfinished. Okay? The finished interior is a little bit smaller than that. No, it's not. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. My ruler was backwards on that. 2 and let me see. Yeah, it's supposed to finish out at 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. Oop. 2 7/8 and 5 1/4. 2 7/8. Yeah. By, see, it measures it in 1/2 inches here. This messes me up. 1. Grr. I am a righty, and this thing looks like it's set up for a lefty. Miss Sheila, you would probably love this thing. 5. Yeah. Yep. 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. That's what it says it should finish out at. And that's what I have on my other ones when I trimmed them out. Okay, sorry. You threw my brain for a loop on that one. Okay, so paper piecing. Okay, so here's this side, this piece right here. This is our paper pieced. Gotta make sure I get this straight now. So you're gonna put your fabric down this way. Put that fabric down there and this one down here. Now, the point is going to be opposite. Okay? So it's going to be this direction. So this is going to be your dark side. This is in reverse. Okay? So I don't know if you can see this from, there you go. So the dark side is on the left side and the white side is on the right side. Okay? So it's opposite. So we're going to make a cut. You can either cut it or you don't have to. Okay? But you're going to put both right side up, not together. Okay, here's right side, here's right side. I'm going to be, now you can cut this straight down the middle, but I say give yourself a little bit of room and bring it over a little bit and go ahead and cut it in half. Because this one is set up for one at a time. Okay? Now, let's see, I don't have my light box because I put that away. Let me see if I can find a light here. There's your point. There's your dark point right there. Okay, we're going to flip that over. We're going to put, you can use tape or you can just hold it down, it doesn't matter. We're going to put that right here on this side of the dark. Okay, and put dark side up, and we're going to cover, I don't know if you can see that line, but there's a line right here. Here, let me, there's a line right here. Okay, and this is the dark side, this is the light side. Okay, I don't know if that helps, but I hope it does. We're going to make sure that it covers that side. Okay, now you've got this side, you want to flip it upside down, flip it over, and you want to put it just like this. Well, not necessarily. I noticed when I did that earlier, you just want to make sure that your line is over the other line. And if you have a light box, this would be a good time to use it. Good time to put it to work. And just kind of make sure that you give yourself some room. And make sure you're over that line. Now, you could tape it in place and keep it from moving. Sticks to my fingers better than it does the fabric. Okay, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to stitch it. Now if you hold that together like this, just hold it, flip it over, and stitch down that seam. Remember to use a small, like 1 to 1.5 inch stitch, or set your stitch length to 1 to 1.5. And just follow that line. Okay. All right, then if you flip this over, you should be covering Now let's see if we can get that tape off. You should be covering that whole piece of paper. Okay, and then let's iron it. Get my little 1-inch, or my little 8-inch one here. Okay, and to make sure that I have a nice crease, I used my wood iron, and then I'm just going to iron it down here. Okay. Then if you come back here and go 1/4 of an inch from the edge, here's the edge right here. Here's my 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to put that right there and trim. Okay. And then again, I'm going to put my 1/4 inch. So it doesn't matter if your paper is misaligned or you've got too much paper. You just want to use that edge against this edge. And that should give you a nice clean 1/4 of an inch. Okay. And we're up to 10 people. I see Adriana just made it into the room. Hey, Adriana. Hey, she said hey. All right, and there you go. There is your first one. And you're going to have a 1/4, you're going to have a little bit on this side, but when you go to sew it on, it's going to match up. You're going to be good. You're going to be golden. Okay? And that is the paper piece method. This is, I want to say, probably the easiest way to make sure you get a good block. Okay? And this is done straight from the template that is provided when I do the printout of my design. All right. Next we're going to do the overcut method. I call it overcut only because I'm not sure what they call it. She's okay. Don't worry. It's okay. Okay. So what I've done is I have cut. We want to have the black on the bottom. I gotta think about this a second. This is the one I didn't cut ahead of time. I think we're gonna cut it about the same way. Put them. All right, I'm gonna take a chance here. This is one I did not practice. How many? Oh, we're going to be doing 40 of these. You need 40. So make sure when you cut, when you're printing it out, you're printing out 40 of these. Okay. And so again, we're going to go from corner to corner, and we're just going to cut like this. Okay. I just cut 1/4 of an inch from here to there. Okay. Now here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you have those edges lined up. Okay? 1/4 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. There's 1/4 inch right there, and there's 1/4 of an inch right there. That's what you need. All right, let me grab my little ruler thingy. Can everybody see it okay? So here's my 1/4 of an inch. 1/4 inch from that edge, and 1/4 inch from this edge. And I'm going to use a couple of pins to pin it down. Now, did everybody see what I did with that? We did right side on top of right side. When we originally cut it, we cut it so that here, I'm going to turn it this way because this is the way it was. We put a right side up on the dark, and we did a right side up on the light. It's because we have to have these when they flip over, they need to be opposite, like this. And the way to do that is to put them both with their right sides facing up, or wrong side to right side. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's come over here. We're going to trim this down, or not trim it down, I'm sorry, stitch it. And if it helps you to draw the line, draw the line. Oh, and we don't need that small stitch. It's not necessary. And yes, I stitched right over my pin. And some of you are cringing. Okay. Okay. And you can still iron this to the dark side. It's okay. Either way will work. All right. And then we're going to iron that down. Okay. Darn it. I got to do it from the lefty side. Okay. So you've got plenty of left over here. The nice thing about this one is it shows there's a, right here is the 1/4 inch and the 1/4 inch, and it shows you where you can cross this. Here, let me get a little bit closer here. Sorry, it's not even focusing very well. Anyway, so if you can see it. Nope, not any better. All right, so if you look right here and here, they have a 1/4 inch on the ruler, and you can use that. You want to put that corner right on that 1/4 inch, and just make sure that it's on your edge. And if you start at the top, I'll say this only because, and that way if you make a mistake in the cut, you still have a little bit of room left over to trim off some more. And then we're going to do the same thing over here at 5. What is it? 5 1/4 and 2 7/8 inch. Beautiful. Okay. So here's the line for the stitching right here and right here at the 1/4 inch mark, and then right there is where the seam is. I'll be honest, when I was cutting earlier, I was cutting right up to the point there, and it doesn't really need, it just needs to be a little bit. Here, let me switch to the this camera. Oh, that did not work. Let's try it again. There we go. Okay. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. There it is. Sorry. So the 1/4 inch. I'm getting worse. I can't hardly handhold this. So 1/4 inch from the top. And then a 1/4 inch from the bottom. Trying to handhold this is not easy. Okay. I hope this didn't make it more complicated for you. Let's come back to the other one. Okay. All right, does that make sense? Please tell me that makes sense. It's just so when you do stitch it, you'll have points on your at both ends. You will have it a point at 1/4 of an inch. Okay. All right. So that one is the what I call the overcut method. And again, you're only going to make one at a time on those, so you're going to need to cut 7 strips, and then you're going to need to subcut. Okay. Now the 2 at a time. This is actually one of my favorites. Okay, so for the third method that we're going to do today is the 2 at a time method. That is going to be your fabric A with your fabric C. So fabric A with fabric C. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way. Hopefully you had enough time to look that over, or whatever works for you. Write it down, which it'll come with these particular instructions as a side page to the pattern, to this week's pattern. All right, so we have fabric A is up and fabric C is right here, and we're going to turn it to the left, and we're going to match up this corner with this corner. Okay, and we've given ourselves enough fabric, enough length in the rectangle so that we can not have to fuss around with trying to get it off-centered, and it seems like when you off-center one and then you turn around and off-center the other side, it just makes a mess. It doesn't actually help anything. Let me find my pen. It was right here 2 seconds ago. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we're going to draw the line from that corner to that corner, and then we're going to pin it. Just 2 simple pins. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 1/4 of an inch, just like we would a half square triangle. We're going to do the same thing for the half rectangle triangle. We're going to do 1/4 of an inch on this side and 1/4 of an inch on this side. And when you're chain piecing all of them, you'll just want to do one side and just do all, in this case, 20 of them. And then when you're done with one side, then you're just going to snip it, clip it apart, snip the threads apart, and then just do the other side. So let's come on over here to the machine, to the sewing machine, and let's go ahead and take this off of here. Bring this over here, and we're going to start with that 1/4 of an inch on this side. Where's my... Somewhere my stiletto has gone off the rails. It's around here somewhere. Okay, try to be careful not to run over the pins, because I do that all the time. And my machine gives me a very ugly sound. You're going to go piece all of them on one side, and then we're going to turn around after we're done and snip them all apart. Then we're going to flip them over and do the other side. Let's see, is that still? Nope. Okay. It unthreaded. So let's see here. Earlier today when I was sewing, I realized the stitch was awful. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I realized it had jumped out of one of the threads, thread guides. Once I fixed it, it was fine. Sometimes you just have to follow it through, or just take it out and rethread the whole thing, and you'll find it'll act a whole lot better. Okay, and there's the other side. Now, we've got both sides stitched, and we're just going to cut this line down right here. Oh, let's see if you can see me here. Okay, so we've got both sides done, and we're just going to cut right across this line right here. All right, let's bring the back onto camera over here. There we go. Okay. Now you can use a ruler, or you can just run your rotary. But if you don't trust yourself and you want to make sure you don't cut something the wrong way, then just use your ruler. Okay. Now we have two pieces that are exactly the right size, hopefully, that we need. So let's go ahead, flip this over. We're going to iron to the dark side, and we're going to flip this over. And got my little wood iron, my Krig iron, Carson iron. All right. We need and one little mini iron should do it. Okay. And then the trim. So the whole thing behind this is I'm not sure if you can see it, but I wish I had my stiletto. I have managed to put it down somewhere, and now it is nowhere to be seen. I didn't think it fell off. Okay, we'll just use the pen. Okay. So if you look at this particular ruler, let's see if I have a little white spot. You see there's a 1/4 inch line that goes all the way down and then crosses up here at the top. We want to make sure this little cross right here is on the seam. This is what's going to give you your point. Now you can do it without the point, but you are going to have difficulties. So you want to make sure that you get that right on that point where it crosses over. Okay, and yes, that's going to offset this just a little bit, but this is where the mistake happens. So we're going to cut that there, and we're just going to trim this side off. And you may have to trim it again. Now, the block is 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. So let's get this back over here on this side. And on this side, it still has that cross right there, and we're still aiming for that. But we want to go for 5 1/4 and 5 7/8. Which means you may have to make a couple of cuts before you get it right where you want it. Let's see. I'll move it up just a little bit. Now it seems like I'm taking my time, but I'm just trying to make sure I don't undercut myself here. There. All right, so there's the 2 7/8 right there. We're just going to get that lined up right there. And we know that it's okay over here. Okay. Wow, okay. Get out of there. And then we're going to recheck that other side just to make sure. I was hoping that when we did this, we wouldn't have to make any more than 1 or 2 cuts on each side, but unfortunately, it seems like we have to do a few more than that. All right, so there's our 2 at a time method, and now we have two that we're going to do exactly the same way. Okay? All right, so that's 2 at a time. Okay, the next method we have is the 1 at a time method. For this one, it's going to require you, for this pattern, to do 7 strips of 3 1/4 by width of fabric. And then you're going to have to subcut 40 rectangles at the 5 3/4. And that should give you enough to do 40 for this particular block. Hopefully you've had enough time to write this down, or if you purchase the pattern, you'll get that information inside the pattern. Okay, let's move that out of the way. And I did just find my stiletto hiding in plain sight. These are my stilettos. I have a couple left. You'll find them in my Etsy shop. They are handmade for me by Craig, who also does the Carson iron, wood irons, the stiletto wood. Okay, the wood irons. Yeah. Okay. The next piece of fabric. Here's how this is going to work. You're going to need to have Okay, so you're going to have your dark fabric up. You're going to have your light fabric. You're still going to turn the fabric. You're going to turn it like this, matching that one at the top, and then you're going to match this one at the bottom. Okay, see how we did that? Right sides together, turn it to the left. You're going to match this piece at the top and this piece at the bottom. And you're going to draw a line from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. This line, instead of being your 1/4 inch line where you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side, you're actually going to sew right on this line. So let's grab a couple pins. Now, because this one is, we're going to be sewing right on the line, it's better to use a friction or some other pin that is erasable or air erasable or water erasable, or just so that it comes off. All right, let's get this over to the other camera. Okay, again, we're going to sew right on this line right here. And watch out for the pins. Let your feed dogs do all the job. Just help. Oops, run right over it. Got to talking. Let your feed dogs just pull the fabric right in. Okay. And we have that stitch all completed. Okay, let's come on over here. And so for this 1 at a time method, we're going to place our ruler on that line, that 1/4 inch right there. We're going to place it on the line, and we're going to chop that right off here. So we have cut it essentially in a 1/4 inch seam from the line. Now you can just kind of guesstimate it. It's okay. And then we're going to flip it out and do the same method. Okay, and there we go. And then we're going to, once again, start lining it up. And you want to use this little crisscross right here at the 1/4 inch. And most rulers have a 1/4 inch guide like that. But make sure it's the 1/4 inch, not like the 1/2 inch, or because I know I've got one that's got a 1/2 inch Rule it has a 1/2 inch right there, but that's not what you're looking for. Okay, we're going to put that right there. Yeah, this is a 1 inch. Okay, I notice we're really close to the edge, so I'm going to bring it up just as far as I can to give myself as much space as I can. Okay, without going too far either in or out. So I'm just going to trim that right off the top. And this is where I made my mistake the last time I was trying to do this. Oh yeah, that worked out great. And not so great. Great and not so great. Because we still have a whole 7/8 inch to pull off of there. Okay, so when we were measuring this one up, we noticed that right away it was giving us a, way out of 3 inches, and we know it needs to be 2 7/8. So we're actually just going to turn this, keeping this lined up with this 1/4 inch right here, and then this one over here is at 7/8, which is going to put the 1/4 inch right about here. And so I think if we just kind of cut this kind of on a cockeyed, let's try it and see what happens. Okay, and then we're going to spin this around and use this as our bottom half, because I think we can salvage this. Yep, there it is, right there, y'all. There's the 1/4 inch right here on the line, which is what we're looking for. And if you look down here, our 1/4 inch is right there, which if I'm looking at it, looks like it's just about perfect. And we're going to go ahead and clean it up. We're going to take off that extra on that side. All right. There we go. And another one, 2 7/8 by 5 1/4. Actually, that one looks a little short. It's okay. They'll work just fine. All right, and there you have it. 2 different methods. We have the 1 at a time method, and then we have 2 at a time method, which gives us a whole nother piece, a whole nother one that we can iron out and cut. So use the method that best works for you. I like the 2 at a time. One, it used up less fabric, and I had less scraps left over. And after doing about 40 of them, I thought I had it down, but it's just funny how that happens. It always seems to like throw you for a curve just when you think you got it. All right, and if you have any questions or you're not sure how that all worked out, just remember that your light fabric, your A fabric, the point is supposed to be up at the top left side, and the white point is down at the bottom right side. Top left, bottom right. Okay. Well, thank you all very much, and good luck, and let me know how it goes. I can't wait to see your finished blocks. Remember, you need 40 of these. All right? If you're going to paper piece, take your 2 best squares and just copy it over and over. And again, make sure that you get the reference size right. That's the important part. Reference size needs to be 2 inches. If you get that, then all these others should fall into line. All right? All right, if there's anything else I can do for you, or if you need prayer, you let me know. I am always happy to pray with my friends and family through this Facebook. But we are going to go ahead and close in prayer, and I'm going to let you go because I probably just drove y'all crazy. All right. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much for sticking with me. All right. Father, I just thank you so much. I thank you for the gifts that you've given each of us. Each of us has received our own gift from you, Father. Some have found their gifts and some are still searching. I just ask you to open the windows, open the doors, pour out the blessings, Father. I ask you to put a hedge of protection around our minds, Father, so that everything we think, everything we say, everything we do is to your glory and your honor. And I just give you all honor and glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Listen, y'all have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you guys. I'm not sure what we have coming up next, but I know it seems like there's a busy week coming up for everybody. You just have a great one. And again, keep your mind as strong as possible. I love y'all. And I will see you next Sunday with our next step. Have a good one, y'all. Mwah.